Suffice it to say, everybody, I am in fact a gamer. And while being a gamer, I enjoy my really in-depth stories like Silent Hill or my pushing the needle visuals a la Cruelty Squad. Sometimes I even prefer the high-octane combat and gameplay of things like Escape from Tarkov or Rust. But every once in a while, you just gotta play some Roblox.
Life. There's Roblox.
And boy, do I have the game for you. Dead Rails. It's kind of massive right now. It's probably the biggest game on Roblox, so I'm not dropping some unknown gamer riz on you, but I get why it's all the rage right now. Dead Rails, simply put, is a survival looting game. You start at a train station and have to make it to Mexico. Throughout the run, you'll need to maintain your train's fuel by burning materials and survive a horde of zombies. That's the baseline gameplay loop. However, the game is so much deeper than that. For starters, the brain-dead slow zombies are not the only ones that you're gonna encounter. You'll encounter things like fast zombies, dynamite zombies that blow up once their stick has been lit, zombie sheriffs leveling the playing field and shooting back at you, vampires who may swarm you during the blood moon nights, wolves and their larger supernatural counterparts, werewolves, serving as the tanks in the game, and requiring a significant portion of firepower to cut through, and outlaws whose bodies you can bag and bring to the sheriff's office for a bounty. Oh yeah, we should probably talk about the money aspect of all of this. Once you start the game, you'll be in one of the fortress towns. This Wild West castle is being guarded by the military, making it an optimal place to wait out the nights. You'll encounter these towns throughout your journey every 10,000 kilometers. I know, gross metric system. In these towns, you'll have the previously mentioned sheriff's office, allowing you to sell outlaws for a cool bounty, a doctor's office selling healing supplies like the more expensive snake oil, which will give you a short speed boost while healing you fully after a bit of time, and the weaker bandage that has time to apply and heals you less than the snake oils, but does give you the ability to revive a friend, so it's smart to keep a couple of them on you. We have a general store that will cycle random items out. This could be everything from melee weapons, mining helmets allowing you to see in the dark of night, coal to fuel your train, armor pieces you can equip that'll be key to your survival, and items used to reinforce your trains. Then we have the gunsmith, selling ammo for your weapons and the other guns in the game like revolver, navy revolver, doing slightly more damage, a shotgun, and the pinnacle rifle. You'll notice the Maxim gun in the corner here, and that's where the train comes in. Throughout your journey, your train is your command station. I mean, it's your main mode of transportation, and it's genuinely such a cool part of the game. Everything can be welded to the train, so not only will you be buying these Maxim guns to mount on your train and fire down the hordes in the town, but you can also get things like lanterns, bulletproof sheet metal, using it to build out your train, making your train that much taller, adding things like upper floors, protecting your ladder with barbed wire so the mobs can't climb aboard unharmed. If it can fit on the train, you can weld it to it, making the possibilities for whatever kind of train you want to make pretty much endless.
Okay, but how do you make money in the game?
I hear you say in your little shrimp voice disgustingly to me, like, you dude, you're a little shrimp guy with your little shrimp voice. Well, that's where the final building comes into play, the trading post. This is going to be the first place you and your friends run to once arriving in a station. The whole goal is to get to the end and make it to Mexico, but during your route, you'll stumble across all kinds of things, between houses on the side of the road, or whole towns filled to the brim with a zombie horde. And these towns, well, they have cool stuff. You're gonna want that. So while yes, you can just book it directly to the end and go to Mexico if you have enough fuel or things to burn, but the towns have cool stuff. And you want to loot that for more money so you can buy more upgrades for your train. Thus, you defeat the horde and pillage the village, collecting what is worth any type of money and welding it to your train to later sell at the trading posts in the fortresses. Hell, you can even just grab stuff to spruce up your train however you please. One of the most lucrative spots in these towns is going to be the banks, which contain a locked vault. There's two ways to open these: get some dynamite and a torch and blow that sucker open, or the more realistic way is to find Old Top Hat here and take him out. This is the banker zombie who drops the code to the bank. Kill him and enter the code, unlocking the vault, which has a treasure trove of gold, silver, and most importantly, bonds. Heading back to the in-game lobby, bonds are the everlasting currency in Dead Rails. Every run will ultimately boil down to wanting to complete one of the many challenges here, which will raise your level and grant bonds, or collecting bonds throughout your run. Bonds are used to unlock new trains, like the gold one, which is just a flex, this nice covered wooden crate one, or the armored train, which uses more fuel and drives slower, but it is bulletproof, has a cool design, and comes preloaded with a turret. Bonds aren't just used for trains, but you can also spin them to get items for one round. Want to start with the shotgun off the bat? Want to start with snake oil? Spin some bonds. Most importantly, what you'll want to spend your first bonds on is the classes. Everything from High Roller, allowing you to gain more money from selling items, but at the risk of being 10 times more likely to get struck by lightning. The Zombie, removing your ability to use healing items in the game, but makes you less detectable by enemies, and allows you to gain health from consuming bodies. Or the Vampire with his own special weapon. He's faster, deals more melee damage, but will take damage in direct sunlight. Others include things like the Alamo, the Arsonist, the Priest, the Doctor, the Musician. These are where you'll be spending your first couple rounds of bonds to really expand your gameplay. Not only can you get bonds through the banks or challenges like mentioned, but through the more dungeon-like special arenas, which are in fact my favorite part of Dead Rails. Dead Rails has that classic sort of Call of Duty Zombies Easter egg charm to it. Going through your journey, you can encounter some special areas that expand the story, like this ghost town here, which is built by a mine. You can blow this up and enter, where you'll fight skeleton miners and TNT zombies. At the back of the cave is another sealed off room. Blowing this up will lead you to a room with the strange mask, a mask you can use to revive any corpse in the game, getting them on your side. If you make it out with your life, you may have noticed the jade tablets lying around the cave and town. Moving these barrels will allow you to the final room of the cave. Placing them all on the plate will drop this wall, unveiling a stash of bonds, gold bars, and the jade katana. A melee weapon with a 20% chance to also revive any corpse. If you venture around, you might stumble across a wanted poster for Captain Prescott, who abandoned his post. You'll eventually come to a military fortress, fighting off a band of zombified military units. One of these just so happens to match the man in the bounty poster, as well as dropping a key. You can use this key to gain access to even more bonds, gold, and a cannon, as well as raiding the armory for the special bolt action rifle, bandages, and some ammo. There's a castle filled with vampires and werewolves that is stocked to the brim with tons of loot. Gonna be honest, I haven't gotten that far in the castle because this is typically where I die. As I said before, the werewolves are, quite the beefcakes. My favorite location is the Nikolai Tesla lab though. It's this Frankenstein's monster setting where you put Tesla's removed brain on this werewolf monster, powering up the facility and fighting off hordes of his scientists before he comes to life, disappearing, leaving the electric revolver. Another secret which completes a challenge awarding you 50 bonds is here. Grabbing the strange device and some lightning rods, you can shoot the gun at them. To open this crazy unicorn island world, you don't have to enter the land to get the challenge done. In fact, if you do enter the portal, it forfeits you from the game and leaves your team down one person, something my friend did here with very little hesitation. That's the thing I really love about Dead Rails, is not only is it like this cool Wild West locale with like zombie survival and base builder aspects to it, but there's so many secrets just jam-packed in this thing. Like, you can discover a unicorn out there somewhere and tame it. It's got flair to it. It is incredibly new, and the dev seems to be working very hard to push out regular updates for the game. It's actually fairly challenging as well. Not to the point that it is unfair. You always feel like even if you messed up, you at least move that needle a little bit further, getting some bonds out of it perhaps for your next class. I don't want to spoil the ending, mostly because I haven't beaten it, but if you do manage to beat the game, you unlock the Nightmare mode, which grants more bonds on completion, but also demands a much more skillful approach to how your team plays it, which is sort of my final point. While this game is fun by yourself, I played for quite some time alone and had a good time. I do think this game is infinitely more fun with friends. Like, super solid game to just play with all of your buddies. So if you do have friends, I highly suggest taking that route, because if not, every death is permanent because you can't revive yourself. Roblox is completely free, so there's really no reason you shouldn't be able to wrangle up someone to play probably my favorite Roblox game in quite some time. Alright, new videos every single Saturday. Let me know what you want to see me cover next in the comments below, and please hit that subscribe button.